Damn, yup. This is some crazy curly hair. I'm not gonna lie, when I first started cutting, if a client like this sat in my chair, I'd be nervous. I'd overthink it, I wouldn't know where to start. I'd feel like I was about to mess this up for real. But today we're not overcomplicating this. I'm gonna keep this as simple as possible, and I'm not gonna rely heavy on scissors. I'm gonna break this down step by step in a way that actually makes sense. Now, in this video, I'm walking you through the full process. I'm going to talk a little bit about sectioning and how I separate the hair for this cut. And I'm also going to break down how thick your guidelines should be because someone asked me that in the comments. And I want to explain a little bit, on the mindset behind that. Then I'll explain what point cutting really is and how I use thinning shears for it, different ways you can do it, and what it's actually for. If curly hair ever made you nervous, this is gonna help you calm down and see it differently. Now, let's get into it. So for this haircut, first thing I'm doing, number 12 guard. I'm gonna be using the 12 guard to set my top length all around. Since the hair is curly, you'll see me lifting it up while I'm cutting. That's because, curly hair can hide inside itself, and I just wanna make sure that the clipper actually grabs everything. With big guards, it can be a little tricky, to make sure you're cutting everything. So you kind of have to guide it through and make sure it's cutting everything evenly. Now, after I ran the whole thing with the number 12 guard, I just sectioned the top and I'm separating the round part of the head from the sides so I can build my shape correctly. And I simply section this way just to see what hair I'm gonna use from the top for the sides. And I start from the cowlick in the back and bring my section forward into a natural split to the front. Now, don't stress if that part confuses you. I'm gonna be dropping more basic videos soon showing exactly how I section, how I hold the comb, all of that. All free on YouTube, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you're notified when I drop those videos. Next, to set my side length, I'm going to go in with the number 3 guard with the lever closed. And since I am doing a drop fade, you'll see my clipper move in that curved motion going down towards the back. I'm already building the shape I want the fade to follow later. And to make sure I'm cutting everything, I'm using my comb to push the hair into the clipper. Now, there will be some extra hair hanging from the top section. That's normal. I'm just slightly going to connect it by trimming it down using my shears, or you can also do clipper over comb here. Either way works. The reason I connected the top to the sides this way is because with curly or wavy hair, it's easier for me to control it with the comb. When you try to just go clipper over comb on hair like this, sometimes there's not enough tension. The hair is soft and springy, so when you cut it, it can sit weird after. It might look even at first, but once it settles, it's not really even. So what I like to do is comb everything down with intention and comb the hair and grab it and cut anything that has to go. But maybe now you can kind of see why I sectioned the way I did. Most hair doesn't just stick straight up, right? There's gravity, so it falls to the sides or to the back. And I was just paying attention to that, where the hair naturally wants to fall. So if you were looking at it from the top, the hair in the middle is hair that I'm gonna keep. I don't wanna cut that. The hair on the outside is everything that's gonna fall towards the sides and back. So just figuring out how I'm going to connect it to the sides and the kind of shape that I'm going to want at the top as well. Now, I purposely left this part a little darker here. I did that on purpose because now, as you can see, I'm hitting it with my thinning shears and just slowly controlling that darkness. I don't want to take too much off, with the clipper right away. That's also another reason I didn't go heavy with the clipper over comb with this kind of hair. Not because it doesn't work, it does. This is just my way of making sure I don't cut too much and make the top of my fade too light. I'd rather leave it a little darker and clean it up slowly so the fade can really pop. Now, for the comment that said stop using the trimmer for content, let's see the real thing. I've actually talked about this before in other videos, but I'll explain it again. The reason sometimes I or other barbers you see online use a trimmer to set a line is mostly for content. It gives a sharper, more satisfying visual, and it just pops more on camera. That's really it. But I don't recommend it for beginners. When you use a trimmer to set your first line, it can create a very dark, heavy line, and heavy lines are harder to blend out later. So if you don't have full control yet, you can make your life way harder than it needs to be. The way I did it here with the clippers is softer and easier. It removes more hair right away and makes the blend smoother from the start. That's actually how I normally cut. Now, I was also asked this question. Please, could you tell me the exact distance between each line? For example, 1.5 close and 1.5 open, 3 close, 3 open. I'd be grateful. Now, I get maybe why a lot of you would probably ask, about the exact distance between these guards or these lever placements, right? A lot of barbers try to measure fades like their exact numbers, but to be honest, the answer is there really isn't an exact distance. The difference between closed and open on the same guard is very small. We're talking millimeters, not inches. It's more of a shade adjustment than a big jump in height. The width of your guidelines really depends on what you're aiming for. If you want a compressed fade, your guidelines will be thinner and closer together. If you want a more stretched out fade, they'll be more spread out to give you more room to play with. Now, it'll also depend on head shape, hair thickness, maybe how dark or light the hair is, or even just how high or low you're willing to take the fade. Now, with my method, I start with a number 3, and that becomes the final length on the sides and back. Then I'm going to take the 1.5 closed up to where I want the top part of my fade to begin. And I open the lever to blend it into the number 3, usually skipping the number 2 guard. Now on the bottom, I typically only use a 0.5 guard and only in the lower section. And with the 0.5 guard closed, I go up about half the distance I used with the 1.5. Then I open the lever, same guard, to blend into that area, ultimately reaching the 1.5 area. It's a simple structure, but the spacing isn't some fixed measurement. But I will say what really changed everything for me wasn't spacing, it was understanding blade angle and pressure. So I will say this, what's really gonna level you up isn't exact distances. It's the way you're holding the blade against the skin and the amount of pressure you're using. If your blade is angled too deep or pushed inward into the scalp, you're gonna obviously create harsher lines. If you're applying too much pressure, same thing. But if you slightly adjust the angle so the blade faces outward a bit more and you line your pressure, you can create softer lines. Now, that awareness is what really will make you more consistent with fading. That's what essentially is going to start giving you awareness quicker than being stuck on measurements. There's nothing wrong with using distances as references. They're helpful in the beginning, just don't focus on them too much. Get good with the feel, the angle, and how the hair reacts. That's what actually makes everything click. And to follow up on that, because I think it ties directly into this question of how do I get faster but stay consistent with your system? Well, I kind of already answered it without saying it directly. So for me, what made me faster wasn't changing my system. It was getting better at blade angle and pressure control. Once I got better at slightly angling the blade outward and not digging into the scalp, I was able to freehand more, glide over lines, and sometimes even skip guards. That's something I've talked about in other videos. If you really master your clipper blade angle, you can soften lines without always having to drop down to another guard. That alone saves time. Getting good at flicking, getting good at pressure control, and most importantly, assessing the hair before you even start. When you assess or map out your fade beforehand, and you take account the hair texture, head shape, or how dark the hair is, you kind of already know how you're going to execute the fade. That minimizes risk, keeps you from overworking areas, and helps you avoid creating light spots that you then have to fix. So one of the reasons I like using thinning shears towards the end is because, after I've set up my rough draft of the fade first, I can then detail safely. Thinning shears have very little risk of creating harsh light spots, so I can refine quickly without messing up the blend. That helps me finish on time and stay efficient. Now, structurally, I simplify my fades into 2 sections. The top section, usually the 1.5 and the 3. The bottom section, usually the 0.5, close and open, and the no guard, basically close and play with the lever. But that's it, no more than 2 to 3 guards in most cases. Some hair textures require even less. The more comfortable you get with freehanding and blade angle control, the fewer unnecessary steps you actually need. So if you want speed, it'll come from skipping unnecessary steps, not rushing. It's about gliding over lines, cutting only what's necessary, and not digging in too deep. So again, don't get stuck on these measurements. Use them as references, but focus more on feel, angle, pressure, and awareness. That's what makes you faster and more consistent at the same time. Now, I do want to do one last question because I feel like a lot of people also ask me this in my DMs, and that is, what is point cutting for? Point cutting is mainly for detailing. The whole purpose is to target little dark spots that might be sitting inside lighter areas of the blend. If you're trying to create a smooth transition from light to dark, It doesn't make sense to have random heavy spots interrupting that flow. So point cutting helps clean up those little dark areas, and perfect the shade. Some barbers will basically point cut with the corner of the clippers. Some use regular shears. I personally like using the thinning shears for this, and some barbers do the same. For me, it's about control and minimizing the risk. I'll point the shear slightly inward, having the back part of the blade on the scalp, and work in a controlled rhythm. Snip, open, and release. Snip, open, and release. I'm not digging too hard, I'm barely removing hair. Now you'll hear some barbers say, oh, thinning shears leave holes, or I keep snagging the hair, or it creates bald spots. A lot of the time that's happening because they're using thinning shears in areas that are too long. If you're detailing on longer sections and you press the shears too close to the scalp, obviously you're going to remove too much and create a light spot. Thinning shears for detailing are mainly for small surface work, in my case usually in that 0.5 to 1.5 area, where the hair is already somewhat short. And if you're snagging hair, this is the biggest rule with point cutting. Every time you pull away from the hair, the shear needs to be open. If you close a shear and then drag it out, that's when it grabs and pulls. That's why clients feel tugging. So just simply cut, open, and then pull out. Never drag a closed shear through the hair. Now, I wouldn't recommend starting with point cutting on afro or very coily textures if you're new. It's trickier and requires more control. Plus, you really need to understand the hair pattern and exactly where to snip. If you're learning, start on easier textures first and build your control. Now, as far as scissors versus clippers, neither one is better. Clippers can definitely be more consistent and easier for most barbers, but they can also remove more hair faster. Shears are just more precise when you truly understand what you're taking out. If your shear control isn't solid yet, stick to corner work with the clipper and lever play. And remember, detailing looks different on straight hair versus curly versus afro, textures, whatever. Density, curl pattern, and even how light reflects off the hair will change what dark actually looks like. Sometimes what you think is a dark spot is just bad lighting, so make sure you have a consistent light source before assuming something needs to be removed. Don't try to copy exactly what someone else is doing on a completely different hair type. Just focus on removing only what's actually creating that dark spot, nothing more. Now, after going through the usual fading process like I explained, starting with the 3, then the 1.5, blending in with the thinning shears, and then working on the lower part with the 0.5, I pretty much just finished everything off with a shaver, and at that point I'm not trying to recreate the fade. I'm just stepping back and looking at the fade as a whole, right? And deciding how high I want the baldness to sit, and make sure everything flows clean from light to dark. Now, I don't take the shaver too high, and I'm not pushing hard into the skin either. It's just light pressure, just gentle gliding over the lower part of the fade, and as I reach the blend area, I kind of scoop out with the shaver instead of digging in, so I don't create any harsh lines. Now, if I do create anything too sharp, I'll just clear it out with the clipper closed, and if the clipper closed doesn't really do anything, then I'll go over it with the trimmers. Gentle flicking motions, nothing crazy, not digging too deep. If nothing works, then I start digging. And if I dig and nothing comes out, then that's when I go into something shorter. But after that, I moved to the lineup. I parted the front according to the hairs I wanted to bring down. For his specific hairline, he prefers it a bit more trimmed down. So I use the number 1 guard with the lever close to lightly clean up the baby hairs while keeping it natural and nothing too pushed back. He does have a widow's peak that he doesn't like, so I lightly shape into it, but I'm still respecting, the natural growth pattern. But in this case, I use the areas where his hair naturally sits slightly pushed back as my reference point. So instead of forcing the lineup forward or cutting too deep into, lighter areas, I followed where the hair already kind of wants to live. That way it looks clean and sharp, but still natural. So I just pretty much work with the, natural receding areas or the points where the hair is light, and just to create something from there that's balanced and realistic. But after this, guys, I did put a little bit of clay into his hair just to style it a bit. And that was pretty much the whole haircut, guys. As you guys could tell, I kind of switched up the layout of the video and started answering certain questions throughout. That's because I prefer explaining things in video instead of writing long paragraphs. And I figured I would, tailor it to a more specific haircut or situation, since every head shape and hair type is different. Now, I found it easier for me to break it down in real time than just to give you guys generic answers. But if you guys have more questions, please drop them in the comments. I'll keep doing my best to explain things clearly and keep improving at it too. I appreciate all the support and the growth of this channel. We're all leveling up together. Love y'all. Stay blessed. Peace.